Hi, this is Delonica L. McDonald with Genesis Broadcasting and AFTV5, and I am here with Mr. Richard Garrett. Mr. Richard Garrett, welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
I feel so honored to be sitting here next to you.
Oh, stop it. Flattery gets you everywhere.
Mr. Richard, introduce to our viewers who you are just a little bit, because there's so much to you. Your bio goes way out the studio. Yeah, you've done so much, but just a snippet of like who you are and your background.
My name is Richard Garrett. I'm a 23-year veteran of law enforcement. In addition to like a year and a half, I've worked in a maximum security prison in Illinois. I'm originally from East St. Louis, Illinois. I've served with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Department for 16 and a half years, Jacksonville, Florida. And I was with the Brunswick Department and Police Department for about 7 years. Both of those positions I voluntarily left due to my personal changes in life. I believe God puts us in a certain place that He wants you. When He's done working with you, just like a tool, you put it in a box, and then you move on to something else.
Oh, that's good.
Like I said, I'm originally from St. Louis. I'm a Navy veteran. I started the police department with Jacksonville in 1991. And during my tenure with Jacksonville, I was in patrol for about 5 years. I was a field training officer. I also was on the first riot control squad. I was on community policing squad, which President Clinton initiated during his term of office.
Amazing.
I was in narcotics. I started out on street level, drug buys. They kind of volunteered me to go to the DEA task force, in which one of my investigations there, well, during that time frame, I was usually posted as a drug buyer, seller, and I dealt with all type of drugs, heroin, mostly marijuana and cocaine, about kilos. And one of our investigations spun off into a federal investigation of some of my coworkers, fellow police officers, which unfortunately, they were incarcerated after being found guilty federally.
Wow.
One of them serving life in federal prison. In addition to that, I was on several violent crime task force during Jacksonville tenure. I then went to Brunswick, and my last position in Brunswick, I had like 5 different titles. I was a detective. I was a member of the violent crimes task force. I was a criminal street gang investigator, in which I was a judge adjudicated me as an expert witness. I was also an investigator, and I was also a field training officer there.
Oh my gosh, you've done quite a bit.
Yeah, looking back at it, I have, but at the time, I didn't even realize it.
Amazing. Okay, you have to take us back, Mr. Richard. Take us back to where did this passion for law enforcement, and he was really Superman, really, for real. It just, instead of the red cape, it was, blue. But take us back, Richard. Tell us, how did this all start for you, as far as what came first? Was it the prison? Was it the police? Detective? Did you dream? Was you 6 years old dreaming?
Never. That's the thing about it. I never had any type of aspirations to be a police officer or in law enforcement.
Okay, so oh my gosh, how did this start then for you?
I was 19, and necessity negates a lot of things that you want to do and need to do. So working at the prison, that was a pretty good occupation at the time, good benefits and pay. So I worked for the State of Illinois Correctional Facility in Menard Corrections. I did that at the age of, I believe, 19.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. We got to take this back. Okay, you were 19 years old. When I think back at 19, like, I was not trying to do a career. Okay, so you're 19. You're actually in a career. And did you say you from East St. Louis?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so tell us, unwrap this. Like, how did you get into a career at 19 years old? Because most 19-year-olds in East St. Louis, they're in the drugs, gangs. It's not a good life.
By the grace of God, my aunt, she came down to visit from Louisiana, and she told my mother and father that, and when I was in 5th grade, if they didn't get us out of that city, we were either going to end up in a gang or dead or in prison.
Amazing.
So they moved us to an outskirts about another little town called Sparta. So we moved there. I would go to visit my grandmother in another part of Illinois, which gave me the farming background. I'm well-rounded. I mean, I know how to survive in the city and in the country environment.
Yes.
During that time, Like I said, I went to the, I got married at the age of 18. I'm the oldest of 10. I couldn't wait to get out the house. So I graduated high school. 3 months later, I got married, and then I started.
Oh my gosh, so you was already family minded at 18 years old. So you had a mind different than other people.
Oh, yeah.
Was it you being the oldest of 10 children that
Yes.
matured you?
Definitely, because I did everything. I cooked, cleaned, I
Amazing.
did laundry, everything, self-sufficient.
So did you used to hear when you were younger all the time, you have an old soul?
Definitely.
You did hear that all the time?
My grandmother. Oh, yes.
Wow. So you at night, so at 19 years old, you're married. You have your own family now. And now you're going into prison. Okay, so what was your mindset? Take us back to that time. Was your mindset like, I'm gonna save the world, I'm gonna,
Oh, yeah.
do new things in the prison world?
I was gonna make a change, make a
Yes,
difference in the world.
yes.
Make everybody do good and peace and harmony through all. But that was shattered.
Wow.
Reality set in. After I left the academy, the corrections academy, got assigned to the prison. I worked in the segregation section. I worked in the most violent parts of the prison. And one inmate, he put it in perspective for me. Because like I said, I was gung-ho and just to save him everything.
Yes.
And he stopped me and he said, look, young brother, he said, you're doing time just like we are.
Amazing.
Only difference is you get to go home at night.
Wow.
And that kind of made me bump my brakes and kind of, made me mature a lot.
It was like a check
It was
and
check
balance.
myself.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I found during that tenure that if you treat people with respect, you're going to get respect.
Oh, that's good.
And you do unto others as you want them to do unto you and
Yes.
your family members.
Yes.
So I never really had any problems during that time frame.
Amazing.
I did get slashed by one inmate, and the other inmates came to my rescue. I have a scar on my wrist from that.
Amazing. And you didn't quit?
No, I didn't quit.
You didn't pack up and just be like,
Reason I
I'm
quit
done?
The military, I quit the prison, I went to the military.
Amazing. So it wasn't because you got shanked?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no, I went back the next day. I think they let me off that day, half a day, and then I went back to work the next day.
Oh my gosh. I worked in a prison, and I don't know if I could have did that. Like, that's awesome. That just shows your strength.
I wasn't thinking about it. Like I said, it's God's hand. I've always been told God's hand was on me.
That's
and I had a purpose.
amazing.
I didn't realize it, and I was like, okay. I must say that my father was a preacher. He passed in 2013.
Wow,
so
sorry about
I'm a
that.
preacher's kid,
Yeah.
and I've done a lot of dirt.
Uh-huh.
But like they say, I got a praying mom and I had a praying grandmother, and that's the only things that kept me through. I know it.
So it was embedded in you.
It was.
Yeah. So you go on from the prison, and you've had experiences at 19 years old, and now from there you go to the military. How do you feel the military shaped your life?
The military really got me in tune with diversity.
Wow.
It's one incident during boot camp I'll never forget in my life. Everybody knows that the military, you're coming from different cities, different countries and everything. Everybody's in the same place. But that's one reason they shave your head so everybody looks the same. So it was one guy, we were taking a shower. They have community showers. So we were taking a shower one day, and there's this one guy from Kansas, this white guy, he's looking at our backside. Like, what's he doing? What are you looking at? I asked him. I was like, because my mom always taught me, I'm a curious type person. I'm always going to speak my mind. So I asked him what he was looking at. And with a straight face, and he was dead serious, he said, I'm waiting for you guys to grow tails.
Wow.
And I was like, for real? He said, yeah, because the area he was, he'd heard that black people grow tails at night. So we had to talk.
Okay, hold up. Now, wait a minute. I don't know if y'all know, because I haven't been in the military. I was in ROTC. Okay, ROTC, we didn't have this type of dialogue going on. What is grow tails?
Black people grow tails like animals. It's one of those myths.
Are you serious?
Yes, and he told us initially we was mad at him, but we couldn't get mad at him because he was
serious. That's what he was, his upbringing. Okay, now I have another question, Richard, and I'm sure you viewers, I'm asking what you're thinking. Richard, did you just ask him what you looking at like that? Because that's not normally how we ask people. When we ask people what you looking at,
that's the PG version.
Yeah, that's the PG. Yeah, okay, okay, PG version. Okay, so you got an insight what you were dealing with. So now you're exposed to someone who's never been exposed to your race, your culture. And so what did that do for you?
It opened my mind. It made me be more open-minded and not be so judgmental.
Yeah,
and not just place labels on people just because you're from a certain place, that's what you are, because you never know. It's like if you have a container, it can be marked with something. It can be marked rice.
Yes.
But if you open it up, it may have flour or sugar inside of it.
Wow.
So you got to look inside the container and
it.
not look at the surface.
I love that. That's awesome. So, I think military also forms and matures you, should I say?
It does. It creates a bond. It makes you feel like family with people that are total strangers.
Okay, so now I did hear, Mr. Richard, that you didn't take no stuff. Like
I was firm but fair.
You was firm but fair.
Working in the prison and working as a police officer, I was firm but fair.
Okay, so it takes some strength, because you are a really, really nice gentleman. So, but it takes strength to work in a prison, a military, and then you were in the Navy on top of that. So, were you always real nice?
Pretty much. My family, I'm the jokester of the family.
Okay.
Everybody knows when I come around, it's gonna be fun. Everybody gonna be laughing. We'll joke on each other, and it's gonna, everybody gonna be smiling. And I'm not a Debbie Downer or the clouds follow me, whatever. I try to look at the good in everything.
Yes.
Instead of looking at a half-empty jar, or half full glass of water, I'm appreciative that it's half full, plus there's something in it.
Oh, I
A lot of
love
people
it.
don't realize that. It's like, okay, at least you got something in there.
Yes. So you always take a situation and look at the best.
I try to do that.
Yes, I love it. So as you are proceeding forth in your law enforcement career, now you're going into an actual on-the-street police officer. How did your neighborhood take that? Because a lot of times our neighborhood is not that kosher with law enforcement.
It was a struggle. Of course, for me being an outsider, not being from Jacksonville, that was one thing I faced. I didn't know anything.
So you had to get to know the people on the street. It wasn't like you grew up with
the areas, the environment, where it's the lines
yes.
and everything. But I learned that the same thing. You do what you're supposed to do. Don't get clicked up. Don't fall into the group thing. If somebody's doing wrong, if you don't say anything or do anything about it, you might as well do it too.
It's guilty. I love it. Yes, I love it.
So I always stick by that sense of values. And I've always been not afraid to be by myself. As long as I knew I was doing the right thing, I could look myself in the mirror
and say that was okay. Is there a particular situation on the street where you were really effective and you brought, that your presence brought a different outcome that you don't mind talking about and sharing?
Oh, it's so many. My supervisors used to call me when they had people getting irate of certain circumstances going on. Maybe somebody was getting arrested from a family, a household, whatever. They call me over, and I let people vent.
Yeah.
People are going to get upset, and that's another thing with diversity. If you're, through the black community, we know that when we talk with our hands.
Yes.
Sometimes we talk loud. I mean, that's just how we are. We're not mad. We're not going to fight.
We're illustrative.
Exactly. So if you don't know that, you're going to take that as an act of aggression.
Okay, that's true.
You got to let that vent out. You got to let them blow that steam off, and then you can rationalize with them.
That's good. That's good. So you were that peacemaker. You was that bridge. So now you are taking what you built, but you're aiming it in a different direction, and so you're involved and you're starting a group where it's supporting men who deal with a lot of issues, because you also have mental health background as well.
Yes, during that time with Brunswick, I was one of the crisis intervention responders. And this is one of the first programs that they had in Georgia, because Georgia, they didn't have any type of organized government facilities, this, with the mental health people. And that's the majority of your problems. You're homeless, and people who have repeat calls to the neighborhoods. A lot of them are based on them having some mental health problems.
Amazing.
Whether they're diagnosed or not. A lot of people don't know. They're not diagnosed.
Yes, that's something, because we deal with people every day, all the time, and may not know that there's really a clinical issue or answer.
And I think a lot of, with the black community, I know back in the day, everybody had that uncle in the room by himself back there. You give him to take the food, but he had mental health problems. Nobody
even acknowledge that. Yes.
So there could have been treatment, but he was just kept in a little room off to himself.
So what are you guys' goals concerning providing a safe haven for men?
Well, me and your husband, Harold, the barber, Give me this fresh cut.
Hey, babe.
We began to talk. We hit it off right off the bat. And Harold's kind of like me. I'm an open book.
Yes.
I'll peel the layers back. I'm not afraid to show my vulnerabilities. Yes, I've cried. I mean, every man. I kind of joke about it. I said, you're not a real man until a woman's broken your heart. Until you cry. Then you welcome manhood.
Wow.
But we're giving guys that opportunity to say things and to discuss things that are not cool to say or talk about.
Yes, that's good.
'Cause everybody people like to stay in their shell.
Yes.
Because they feel like they're the only ones going through it, and that's one of the things that evolves into bigger problems later on, when it could have been just, like I said, let the steam out, let the valve out. They can know that, hey, you're not the only one. I've been through that. I've survived. He's been through that. He survived.
Absolutely.
There is things. It is hope.
Yes. Yes, I love it. Don't you guys love that? Like we need support groups that are around, because I have a husband, I have a son, I have a brother. You want the men that you love to be okay. You want the men that you love to have a foundation and a support system, because we women have it, right? We have everything. We can do all kinds of groupings, and even if we'll call prayer groups and everything else together. So this is awesome that you guys are doing this. How can our viewers, or even their wives, how can they reach out to you and Harold the barber and get a hold of you guys?
Well, you can contact me at my email, rgarretts at hotmail.com, rgarretts at hotmail.com. Or you can hit up Harold the Barber. He's on his Facebook page. And we're gonna try to get a type of media site, a website or something like that, in order to get more information out there and more people, to be involved with it and reach out. And that's another thing that what we're gonna do is, this group that we're gonna say, this is gonna be like an Alcoholics Anonymous or all those other groups. Whatever says there, stays there. It's got to have that confidentiality.
I love it. That's good. So I'm gonna if you would give our viewers 3 tips if they were going into their career, if they were going into law enforcement, what is 3 tips that you would give to our viewers that can help them position their life?
First thing I'd like to say is, if you're going to law enforcement, remember, it's law enforcement. You're enforcing the laws. You're not punishing people. It's not Judge Dredd. It's not one of those other movie type of things. It's you take a good look at most of the movies that come out nowadays. I think End of Watch is a more realistic media that I think everybody aspiring to be a police officer should watch. Another thing, you have to maintain your physical condition, your physical fitness, because that keeps your mental fitness, because that job is very mentally challenging, more than physical.
That's good.
Because you're a public servant, which it is with the public. You might not like it. You're going to be in the worst areas of town. You're going to be seeing people at their worst, doing the worst things that nobody can imagine that other people would do to another human. But you have to have that professionalism. You got to have those ethics, and you got to have that inside of you. And your common sense is the first and main. That's the most important tool you have. You don't have. That's one of the things you can't go to school for. You can't buy in the store. You got to have it. You got to know how to use it. Those things will keep you alive. Another thing you need to have is a strong family, or you have friends that's not in the law enforcement community. That keeps you from having a us against them mentality. And that breeds a lot of the police corruption and complaints when police officers get into that I'm on this level and you're on below me type of thing.
That's good.
Another thing is articulation. You have to be able to comprehend and read and understand things and be able to explain them. Because that's 95% of your job, is talking to people and explaining things, the law, rules, other options for them to help them in their situations. That's what you're going to be doing.
Oh, that is awesome. Hey, you got the interview here with me and Richard Garrett. He's been an amazing piece of helping to bridge society, and he has assisted in mega cases. I won't even go into mentioning the cases, but he has been a part of that. And we appreciate your service to our nation as well as to the different states, for you sticking in there and never quitting, because this role that you do is never easy, but it takes a strong person to keep pushing forward and to never give up on your people. You still have a great love for your people, and we appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming on to AFTV5.
Well, thank you, and I love AFTV5. I appreciate you guys having me, because I'm humbled that you would even, consider me to come on.
Yeah,
And
why
I hope we get
wouldn't
to
we?
talk again.
Yes, we definitely will. This is Delonica L. McDonald with AFTV5, and we appreciate you for watching us today. Stay tuned.